very capable, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Captain Luke, in the flesh. Everybody get up for Captain Luke. Oh, come on, guys, think you do a little better than that? Let's go, Captain Luke! Woo-hoo! Woo! So, Captain Luke and myself are fully licensed captains with Transport Canada license to operate this vessel. Both himself is fully Transport Canada certified. As licensed captain, fully Luke and myself are capable of free emergency duties, that means CPR, first aid, firefighting. You guys are in very safe hands. I'll take this opportunity to point out all the safety devices we have on board this ship. Down here on our lower level, you'll find all of our life jackets. Every man, woman, and child on board this vessel. Additionally, four life rings that we've got at the mid life raft. All these safety devices are extremely important, and yet we will need none of them. As long as you all can follow one extremely simple rule. No matter how bad of a job I am doing with this tour, please do not try and leave early. Try to swim back to shore, you'll probably catch a bad case of hypothermia, and I have a legal obligation to try and save you, and I don't know how to swim. So I don't like your chances, I don't like my chances. So I just save us both the trouble, folks. Keep yourself in the boat at all times. And the final announcement before we get underway is if you generate any garbage over the course of this tour, the appropriate place to put it is not on the floor. It is not appropriate to toss your garbage into beautiful Lake Ontario. It's not appropriate to stuff your garbage into our life jackets. We have garbage cans on board. Any garbage that you generate over the course of the tour exits the boat when you exit the boat. So that out of the way, let us now move on to the tour. First part of our tour is going to focus off to the right-hand side on our beautiful Toronto waterfront. As you guys can see, quite a lovely place to find yourself, even when it's not a bright, hot, sunny day. We've got this waterfront boardwalk or promenade. It's lined with restaurants, shops, cafes, and art galleries. This is one of the nicest places that Toronto has to offer. Those aren't always so nice down here, however, for all these big and beautiful glass and steel towers went up. Very different sorts of buildings on the waterfront. Mostly slaughterhouses, warehouses, shipping yards, and as in our industrial past. A power plant, that is correct. No trick questions on the tour, folks. So to have on the waterfront. Now things began to change in the 1970s and 80s with the Toronto Waterfront Revitalization Project. It's a big fancy way of saying we packed up all those dirty, stinky polluting factories and we shipped them off to Hamilton, Ontario. Very unfortunate for Hamilton, very fortunate for us here in Toronto. We cleaned up our hub from that movie, shared their romantic first kiss. It is coincidentally where Captain Luke waits each and every night after work for his romantic first kiss. We give everybody on board who's interested. He is on that time. Easy after striking out, Captain Luke will go grab the stars of the next door neighbor, the Amsterdam Brewhouse. There's another industrial relic. Used to be one of 18 identical shipping warehouses. Today, one of Toronto's largest bars and restaurants, capacity for over 700 people at the Amsterdam. They've got that double-decker patio, an extensive menu, great view of the harbor, and best of all, they are a brew house, meaning they brew their own beers right there in that building. 13 of them in all. My favorite of the bunch is the Bone Shaker. I would definitely recommend going to the Amsterdam for lunch, try a beer, try 2. Heck, if you guys on vacation, go wild, try 5 beers. I will not judge you. Just do yourself the favor and do not try all 13 of their beers in one sitting. If you do have too much to drink, it is a very, very short walk and stumble over the next door neighbor with the green roof. This is a police station. Now, the Toronto Marine Police team is not too concerned with what goes on land. These guys are responsible for all the waterways and bodies of water here in the city of Toronto. Now, marine safety, that is usually a job for the Coast Guard, but Canada has the world's longest discontinuous coastline, so we simply have too much water for the Coast Guard to keep up, and local municipalities will have to pick up the slack. I want to really brag that the Marine Police unit here with the ultra high-speed boats. They can get anywhere in the harbor or islands in 3 minutes or less. As we continue our westward journey here along Toronto's waterfront, you guys trying to get over to Toronto's most iconic landmarks. We, of course, have the CN Tower. We also have its much shorter, much chubbier neighbor, the Rogers Centre. Do we have any long-time Torontonians on board who can remind me of the original name of this stadium? The Skyline is correct. Many Torontonians, myself included, still refer to this stadium as the Skyline. It's because it's a much more fitting name. Why? Well, the stadium has a dome roof, which opens up to the sky. Although it's pretty commonplace nowadays, this is actually the world's first fully functioning retractable stadium roof. Now, I did say fully functioning. That's because our friends in Montreal are actually the plunge with their retrofit of Olympic Stadium. They completed it 2 years before the Skyline opened back in 1989. When we here in Toronto got the last lap, Montreal managed to open up their stadium too. When it came time to close it that very same night, it promptly broke down. And it's never closed since in the last 34 years. The Water Center route does work this day. They spend 20 minutes and $20 on 15 to fully open all closed. It is the largest capacity stadium that you'll find here in Toronto, and it's also home to Canada's only Major League Baseball team, the Toronto Blue Jays. That's a very muted response, but assume we don't have too many Blue Jays fans on board. That is okay. We can instead turn our attention to the first of the 15 Toronto Islands. It is now, you can see off to the right, Airport Island, home to Toronto's Billy Bishop City Center International Airport Beach, South Carolina. Canadian destinations too, of course. Places like Montreal, Quebec City, while you're there, Halifax, Sault many others as well. Really, you can only fly for about 3 hours from here on a single tank of gas. You might be take this opportunity, though, to thank our captain. He is setting you guys up for what I would argue is perhaps the most stunning view you're going to get over the course of the whole tour. Off to the right, you're going to see the CN Tower and the Water Center, flanked by the islands with some boats in the foreground. We'll go slow here, let you guys snap some photos, and continue on with the tour in just a couple minutes. Property taxes. These folks have the cheapest waterfront rent anywhere in Toronto. If you guys are looking for a waterfront condo on the mainland city side facing the water, you will easily be spending $2,000 a month for your rent. To leave your boat here, however, obviously it will depend on the size of your vessel and where you want to leave it, but you could be leaving your boat here for as little as $500 a month. Access to running water and electricity, access to laundry and washing facilities, access to Wi-Fi and cable TV. All the creature comforts are available to you here at the Toronto Island Marina. Now, this is, however, merely a 3-season community. In less than a month's time, all the boats you see here off to the right will be out of the water. In particular, this blue and white contraption up on land with the yellow sort of swings hanging down, the marine travel lift. Those swings are going to be lowered into the water. Boats will drive on top and then be lifted out, and then they'll be shrink wrapped. And as you'll be able to see in a moment, they will be stored up on land. Now, do we have any ideas on why these boats all need to be coming out of the water in less than 1 month's time? It freezes. Exactly. It does not get whiskey freezing cold here in Toronto, but it does get water freezing cold. When water turns to ice, it expands. If you leave your boat in the water, this ice will expand into your boat, giving it a nice big crack, leading to leaks. And that's exactly the sort of thing that you want to avoid doing, especially if you're trying to live on your boat the following season. Now, I did just mention that the water here does freeze over. How then do we keep the port in Toronto open during the winter time? Especially considering we do actually have a year-round residential community on the islands. Now, these folks don't live in boats. They live in the 262 beautiful historic homes on the eastern ends of the islands, Wards Island and Algonquin Island. Partios folks get back and forth each and every day during the winter months. Easy, we have a ice-breaking boat here in Toronto, and that is the Ongara. Ongara is a Class 3 Siberian icebreaker. The name is Astronomic for thunder of the water. The boat gets this name from how it breaks the ice. It's not a conventional limestone. What the Ongara will do is they'll ride on top of an ice shelf and then crush it under its immense 220-ton weight. This creates a very loud booming or crunching noise, hence the name the thunder of the water. Now, this ferry, the Ongara, actually does double duty. Not only does it bring passengers back and forth every day to the islands in the wintertime, it also acts as a school bus. I'm not sure if you guys noticed when we were going around the lighthouse, one of the buildings over there had a couple of school buses out front. That's because there is actually a Toronto Island Natural Science public school out here. Now, this is primarily used by the residential community out there on the islands, but there are some kids all along the waterfront who do attend class out on the islands as well each and every day. It is a regular public school, operates from September to June, and during the cold winter months, these kids get to take a ride on the Ongara every day as their school bus. I think that definitely makes it so they're the coolest community school out of anybody in Toronto, hands down. Now, in just a moment, Captain Luke is going to be making a big right-hand turn, and